Welcome to Perfect Word Media. My name's J. Monroe Johnson. And I've got some bad news, folks, and it's going to hurt. Alabama is known worldwide for Alabama's abhorrent prior criminal history regarding civil rights, human rights, and property rights. And you've got to understand it's just theft. If you go, wait a minute, I thought it was the Civil War in 1861. And wasn't that about states' rights? No, folks. No, it wasn't. Was it? Yeah, about 1.5% of it was. It was about free labor at gunpoint. And the Confederacy attempted to steal the southern half of the North American continent from the United States and destroy the United States to perpetuate chattel slavery. So there are historians now that speak that boldly. And what do you mean? Well, Montgomery, Alabama is where the Confederate White House stands to this day. Montgomery, Alabama's Confederate White House was the personal residence of Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy. A national treasure. You could say a global treasure referring to humanity. Why? Well, learn a lesson from it, folks. You can't rob people with violence forever. Short term, maybe. Long term, never. You're never going to get away with what you're doing to my family, Alabama. They're up to their old tricks. And who's they? The Alabama KKK kleptocracy. And what's kleptocracy? Rule, R-U-L-E, by B-Y, thieves. T-H-I-E-V-E-S. And KKK is the acronym or the initials for Ku Klux Klan. That's K-U-K-L-U-X-K-L-A-N. Ku Klux Klan. And it sounds crazy. And they are. They're criminally insane. They're collectively, politically, socially, spiritually, financially, and in other ways, insane. They advocate violence to rob people of their human rights, civil rights, to rob them of their property rights. The Confederacy attempted to use firearms to steal the southern half of the North American continent from the United States in order to declare their sovereignty to perpetuate chattel slavery. See, Alabama, like the other 49 states in our union, or what you call quasi-sovereign. That means they're 99% sovereign, as in self-rule. They can legalize prostitution, gambling, just about anything they want. There's just this 1% factor they're not able to do. They're not able to kill people and murder people and torment people and torture people in order to get those people to give them money, cash, cars, land, real property. One person said, what's the difference in land and real property? Buildings. Land is pasture land, vacant land, crop land. And real property is land with building structures on it. Tracy Honey, the mayor of Albertville, he's a real estate agent for RE/MAX. Jimmy Carnes, that's the Albertville City prosecuting attorney. D. Walker, that's the city judge. Sergeant David Atwell, he works for Albertville City Police Department. Police Officer Dwight Lawrence, he recently retired from the Albertville City Police Department. All of those people have injured my family. All of them. Every one of them. Some more than others, of course, but all of them. You've got 2 judges in Marshall County currently that are involved in this conspiracy, and that's Circuit Court Judge Timothy Francis Riley and District Court Judge Mitch Floyd. And the FBI in Birmingham made it very clear to me and our blind friend of 25 years named Charles Keith Barksdale, and some people call him Sonny, and some people call him other names. If you're on the wrong side of this, you'll probably call him a bad word. And I've seen people do that because they've lost their mind over this one. But he's been abused too. He's injured. It's a $1 million plus bank fraud theft scheme. And it's by these officials in Marshall County, in Albertville City, and Alabama, the state. It involves a corrupt chiropractic family doctor, John Allen Smith. It involves a corrupt insurance agency in Albertville. It involves a corrupt bank in Albertville, Liberty Bank, another corrupt bank in Albertville named Cadence Bank. It involves the corrupt city of Albertville and the corrupt county of Marshall, and again, the corrupt state of Alabama. Of course, not all the officials are corrupt. About a half dozen in the county and another half dozen in the city are in fact corrupt. And we ask you to keep them in your prayers, because the truth is an awesome force, unlimited in power and authority. And they're on the wrong side of the truth. They thought they were going to steal our property for the, in essence, depending on how you do the math, $500 million, 20-acre corporate America retail giant, Super Target retail outlet facility was constructed directly across from our property. It's located about a mile from Super Walmart Guntersville on US 431 South. That would be toward Gadsden if you left Super Walmart Guntersville. Go right 1 mile and you'll see a dozen flags. Some from Honduras, Mexico, Venezuela, Germany, and America, primarily America. Why? Well, we support the Hispanic community, and we've been attacked for that. The villains would tell you another story, but they lie. They lie outrageously, and some of them lie in writing to federal and state agencies, which is a crime. And folks, it's even worse than that. Some of them lie in writing to federal and state agencies. We're talking, you know, the FBI, the FDIC, the Alabama State Bar, and others, as they're duly sworn and on official duty. Wow. And in high level appointed and elected officials. You've got to understand what I just said there was critical. And let me be real clear. Because the majority of human conflict is from the result of the lack of effective communication. Steve Marshall was not elected by we the people. He was appointed by former, now convicted criminal sex offender Robert Bentley, the governor of Alabama in 2017. You can Google Steve Marshall, Robert Bentley, and read newspaper articles where it was Almighty God that instructed Robert Bentley, according to Robert Bentley, to appoint Steve Marshall from Marshall County. That's Stephen Troy Marshall from Marshall County. He knows me. He's known me for 2 decades, thereabout. And I've known him. I had the utmost respect for him as district attorney until I saw how he mistreated us. He awarded a illegal judgment through his district attorney's office. See, somebody's got to be in charge. He's going to try to remain concealed and say, no, that was the assistant district attorney, Ed Kellett, that went to high school at Geraldine with Mr. Johnson. Yeah, we were in FFA together, Ed Kellett. You remember me? I was the treasurer. You weren't an officer in the FFA. I was the treasurer in the Geraldine FFA. That's Future Farmers of America. I know you, Ed Kelly, and you're a big bully. You bullied me in elementary school and high school. And you also tormented Candy Coker. And I saw you do it with glee. I prayed for you, and I still pray for you. I'm reminded of what Christ Jesus said on the cross. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. But you know better, Ed Kellett, and they own you because you work for them. And that's the KKK kleptocracy in Alabama. You signed an illegal, as confirmed by at least 2 competent, ethical, licensed Alabama attorneys. You signed an illegal judgment. You knew that 0 restitution in a $40,000 first-degree felony theft case that was adjudicated illegally with your signature all over it, and Circuit Court Judge Timothy Francis Riley's signature all over it, and then District Attorney Steve Marshall's signature all over it. Folks, now Stephen Troy Marshall, he signs with 3 initials, like King Louis XIV. That's how he signed. Google that. Look at the signature of King Louis XIV and understand that he was not beheaded like Queen Antoinette, who told the people of France that they could eat cake when they were starving to death without even porridge to eat. That's oats or grits that you mix with water. King Louis XIV survived, but he was dethroned because he had bankrupted the treasury built in the palace of Versailles. He was a megalomaniac, and he cared not for the people. He cared for himself. And his egotism and megalomania bankrupted Francis, as in Timothy Francis Riley. That's his legal name. And you can Google him and put in there on the Google search, noethics.org. Timothy Francis Riley, Marshall County. And read those scathing rebukes by legal law reviews, I guess is how you would word that. They're law reviews regarding unethical and incompetent judges in Alabama. And there are numerous articles regarding Circuit Court Judge Timothy Francis Riley, who is about to retire. I say good riddance, be gone. You should be indicted by a federal grand jury anytime now for the crimes you've committed against my family, and I'm sure others. Folks, I want you to know the internet's powerful, and we've had 2 people come forward and tell us how they've also been profoundly injured by the Alabama KKK kleptocracy. One is a father of a young man that was murdered because he found himself in a county jail in DeKalb County on a misdemeanor charge. And the deputy ordered the young man murdered and assured the murdering inmate that the monitors would be turned off at the time of the strangulation, that then would be covered up as a suicide. And it was covered up as a suicide. But there's no statute of limitation on murder, and there are witnesses to that murder, and it is death by deputy. And the deputy ordered this father's, whose name I will conceal out of respect to the family who suffers nearly in silence, but I told him I'll get him some help as best I can. You do that through the First Amendment, and by all means necessary. And let me give you some advice, if I may. If you're being abused by any government agent, go to your nearest national park and ask for a permit titled Free Speech, First Amendment Right Permit at a United States National Park. You'll pay $50 and you'll have to pass scrutiny, and it'll take 10 days to get your permit, but you're creating a federal record, and everybody knows all over the world you don't mess with the USA. America will not be mocked, Alabama. America will not be mocked, Alabama. This is going to stop, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You've embarrassed Alabama again, Alabama, and this is a scandal. And when I tell attorneys and attorneys' secretaries what Alabama's done, they're speechless. The word is unfathomable. Believable, yet impossible to understand. Anything for money, right? Rape, rob, pillage, slander, steal, kill, destroy, and set on fire. All in the name of God. You're some twisted criminals, folks, in Marshall County. You are some twisted criminals. You have exposed yourself and you have abused a 10-year-old boy. You have killed a World War II, war-disabled Navy veteran, 95 years of age. People take real issue with that. You're going to be held accountable. Alabama KKK kleptocracy. You're not going to get away with this. You abused a blind man within 3 miles of the Helen Keller School for the blind and the deaf. He has testified before Congress and the U.S. Department of Justice about 3.5 hours at each location. And they're coming for you. Alabama KKK kleptocracy. And you know what that means. Prepare for prison. Go on YouTube and search how to survive federal prison as a dirty cop or a dirty judge. You'll be okay. The feds will take real good care of you, but you're going to prison. And Margaret Lacey of Cadence Bank and Phil Sims of Marshall County Sheriff's Department, prepare for prison. You got blood on your hands. You made your choices. You enjoyed the crime. Now do the time.